Hello and welcome to the first live stream of the Sports with Monga, and what a stream to kind of start off with. What it's all happening right now. It's all kind of buzzing with the game week 5 upon us, and you know it's been one of those moments where you try and then you finally succeed. And here is the first live stream coming to you live from the point of game week 5. We are not that far away from the transfer game week 5 transfer window to be shut. Just recapping, 81 points in the game week 4, 178k at currently with the squad, which I am pretty happy about. There's a lot going on with talking points, with discussions regarding where does this how does, or what do you want to play a wild card? Do you play a wild card? Is Son a must? Brighton versus Manchester United, the game week 5 preview, or the big game happening this this game week. So it's a lot to kind of catch up on. It's a lot kind of that you are trying to understand and work with. So just as you guys are kind of thinking about it, or like possibly looking just to kind of get a reaction of like what's possible, what's not, and how do you want to see this team moving forward. It's interesting for me to kind of have a good look at what my team looks like right now. I am pretty happy with the way it is. Of course, there have been a lot of talk with the international break. We've had a good international break. England has had a good international. I think Bruno Fernandes with Portugal has had an amazing summer international break, like a 9-0 win against Luxembourg, with Bruno playing like a very central role of kind of getting everybody inclined to play and to see how they can kind of continue. So it's one of those moments where you realize that there is a possibility of different teams and different players to kind of shine. 8 minutes to deadline, not a lot of time to the deadline. So I'll jump straight into it right now. As you see the teams, this is the current playing 11. It ends 12 p.m. It is 11:53 right now. I think I'm pretty happy with the squad right now. I am thinking of rolling this transfer. The only question in my mind is basically, should I take the risk and have Heung-min Son in my team? It is one of those moments where, it's one of those ephemeral moments where you want to do, but then who should I bring him on for? I'm thinking Mbeumo, Bruno Fernandes, and Diaby and Saka have too many options to they have too many places, or too many avenues to get points right now. So in my mind, I really don't feel comfortable if I want to remove any of these players. The only thing that I can think of right now is if I do Mbeumo to Son or Maddison. Like, look at the fixture. So Maddison, it gets pretty interesting, right? Sheffield United and then Arsenal, Liverpool. But if I look at Mbeumo and his fixtures right now, Newcastle is tough, but then Everton, Nottingham Forest, they gave me. So if I have to look at what's the best way to include, what's the best way to kind of maximize my points in this game week, I will stick with Mbeumo in the midfield, and I will think about when I have two free transfers, then I might think about moving out Mbeumo possibly, or moving out Sterling as well, because right now Sterling, like, of course, this 19-point haul, everybody wanted him, everybody brought him in, but then people have like almost dropped faith in him because of one bad week, and then it was, of course, Nottingham. But then if you look at the fixtures, guys, Bournemouth, Aston Villa, Fulham, Burnley, I think if you brought Sterling like I did because of this knee-jerky reaction of last week's his performance, I think you need to stick with him. yeah, I don't think you have any other choice but not like if and not to stick with him. So you have to stick with him. Saka, like that was one thing. Arsenal, Everton, Spurs, Bournemouth, and then Man City. So I am thinking about, because the fixtures for Arsenal look pretty good. I want to see Champions League. I want to see how Arsenal and how all the Premier League clubs actually perform in the Champions League, and how do they go forward. Is it something that we can we learn something? Is it something that we can draw our inference from, like, or possibly see where this is headed? So it's a lot of things kind of in consideration right now, in my opinion, for Arsenal. But then looking at Diaby, of course, we can be like, look at this, Musa Diaby. How do you think I can think of anybody like moving him away? This man has, like, it's all green. The fixtures are so amazing for Aston Villa, and of course I would have wanted possibly starting with Watkins, but I'm like, do I really need to? Do I need to change something? Bruno Fernandes was amazing. The fixtures look good. Brighton, of course, Brighton is a little at home, but Burnley, Crystal Palace, Brentford, Sheffield. I can stick with this team for some weeks. That's what I feel. The main question that I have is, like, does Julian Alvarez start? Like, Haaland is a must, but then does Julian Alvarez start? Am I missing on possible? Like, of course, the one risk that I take was, and I still have, is Mitoma. So Mitoma is still one player that I don't have, but then Manchester United are playing them next, and then Bournemouth and Aston Villa. But then I'm kind of comparing it. Do I want to switch back from Sterling to Mitoma or not? I will stick with this right now. Of course, then there will be a European week where people will play and people will understand how do they want to kind of actually have their teams working. But that's pretty much, I think it's pretty consistent for now, in my opinion, for me to kind of hold on to this team and hold on to the current lineup that I have, and stick with this to a point of possibly boring. But then if I look at my team right now, this is what I'm starting with: Saliba, Pedro Porro, and Chilwell in the back, Sterling, Bruno Fernandes, Saka, Mbeumo, and Diaby in the middle. I have a risk of Julian Alvarez not starting, but Haaland was there in my mind, because Julian Alvarez traveled to Argentina and then he had to come back to England, and it's not it's an early start for City as well, because they will play 4 p.m. today, and Alvarez was still playing a game in Argentina, I think, until Wednesday. So he will have traveled the 12-hour travel. He would have come to England on like Thursday, but it's away game, so do you want him to travel? That's kind of the question that you want to kind of think of. But yeah, I have a good backup here. Joao Pedro can come in. I'm not concerned of that. And I feel that he will start. I don't know how many points will he have. Of course, people have gone in for Evan Ferguson, and they want more of Evan Ferguson. I'm keeping a little clean, or like better with the current team that I have, and sticking with it basically to not kind of change the whole dynamics of what I have been playing with. And that is how I'm going to stay. I'm going to stick with Haaland captain, and Sterling vice captain. Maybe I should do this and save my team. Possibly this is the last moment. One more minute before the one more minute before the stream kind of ends, or like the transfers are not allowed. The fantasy game will kind of auto update. But I would say, like, you need to play the fixtures, guys. It is hard. Like, I have an issue with Onana in my as a keeper. People have gone with Pickford or Turner as better options, but I want to stick with this man for some time and see how this will go, because I feel that this man is the right choice to kind of start with, to basically play with, and also stick with him for some time, in my mind. Of course, you will realize, and one will find that possibly you might have different issues, or with your team, with different, you might have a different surgery to kind of do. But for me, I feel it is good. It is something I am willing to take a risk for. And this is it. I think we have hit the mark. If I click refresh, the game is now currently been updated. All the best to everybody who's playing. I think with the things we now know of Trent not playing, or like Trent being injured, Trent out for Liverpool, then the question of between Maddison and Salah, having the Liverpool fixtures, playing them. Do you want to? Do you not want to? It's a little weird to kind of analyze this right now. So, and it's after, you have to understand, this is after an international break. So after an international break, I would always suggest or recommend, give it a little more, give it a week. If you're wildcarding, if you have wildcarded, it's an early bet on a lot of players that we have not seen clicking again. You have to understand, it's so early in the Premier League, in the Fantasy League right now. We are just playing the 5th game. We will have Champions League starting next week. The games and the fixtures are already out. We will have more data to play with. There will be some more inputs because injuries and people with injuries are now coming back slowly. So it's one of those things where everything will now look more and more. It will look better, and it will look more and more interesting for the teams, and we will get to know more. Of course, one thing that I didn't talk about, and something that I should have, is the double game week that we might have for the double game week for Luton and Burnley. But I don't know if you have any players that you can kind of target for them right now. Like you might not, in my opinion. But yep. That's kind of the wrap up here. The game is updating. The first game, it basically starts, if I can look at the games. The game is getting updated. That's good. If I go to home or go to Premier League right now, if I look at this, Liverpool Wolves, the first game starting 1:30 kickoff. Aston Villa, then there are 5 games basically back to back and in a goal rush in my mind. Aston Villa, Crystal Palace, Fulham, Luton, Manchester United, Brighton. That will be a game that I will definitely watch. Tottenham and Sheffield United will be interesting. I will keep my eyes closed if Son goes on a rampage, or if Maddison creates a lull. It is so hard right now to have 5 midfield positions. I would have loved to kind of substitute one of my strikers for a midfield, but then that's not how the game plays. Yep, and that's kind of what I feel we might end up with. Interesting game, Manchester United versus Brighton in my mind. Then we have some good games of Everton, Arsenal, but easier said than done in my opinion. But then this game will be good. Let me know in the comment section below, what do you think? How does your team look? I will post the team in the community section after I have been away from some time. I've not done the community section well. My apologies. I will try to get better. This was my first live stream after trying for quite some time and being able to figure out the dynamics and the visuals that I want. So it's good that I have figured this out, guys, and I am looking at doing more and having fun with you. So do get on the comment section, do get on the live chat. I am here to respond to any of your questions as well. What do you feel? How does your team look? And I will then catch you in the next live stream, or possibly a game reaction. Do catch out my shorts videos, guys. 90% of you guys who love watching my videos are not subscribed. I would really request you all to subscribe to my channel, to share it with your friends, and bring this community. Sports with Mongha is something that I like to talk. It's like something I have a passion for football. I like sports. Check out my shorts videos. that I did regarding the troll transfer window, the saga that's been happening with the Turkish window still open, and Emmanuel Dennis going to Başakşehir, Istanbul Başakşehir to play in the Turkish league. One thing I've not talked about is Mario Balotelli coming back to Istanbul, or coming back to the Turkish league to play. A lot of fun on the shorts videos. Do give them a like, do subscribe, and I catch you in the next one.